Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Helmet. My name is Mason.
And this is Ian.
And April Fools, we didn't release one yesterday. Ha ha ha. Joke's on y'all.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. This isn't just definitely coming out late. It was definitely an April Fool's joke. Anyways, today there's some hot, juicy news about the existence of the AAF for the rest of this year. But first, we're going to go into this past week's games because they may be some of the most important in history now. Starting off, first game, Orlando and Memphis. In a closer than expected game, Orlando comes out 34-31, moving them to 7-1 on the year. Memphis tried. Johnny Manziel actually got a concussion in this game. Didn't
What a
he?
shock!
I believe, yeah. He looked okay for most of it. I was surprised with how well Memphis battled through this game.
Yeah, Memphis is not playing like a 1-4 team, which is impressive, even though they're one of the worst teams in this new league and possibly ending league. But they're there in every game, I feel like, and especially against the top-tier team in this whole AAF. It just proves to show how Memphis might not be as bad as a team as they seem. They just get unlucky.
They're still 2-6 like the Legends, though, so that's what matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good game for Memphis. And, they don't get blown out often, but they have had a couple of bad blowouts. It's not like the Legends.
No, they can at least score more than 6 points.
Yeah. Speaking of not scoring more than 6 points, our next game, Salt Lake hosted San Diego, and the Stallions came out on top 8-3. Wow. What a barn burner. I want to say this moves both teams to 3-5 now. So I'm just happy that Salt Lake finally got another win. This was my team that I really wanted from the beginning. I've rooted for the Legends, but I've had like a soft spot in my heart because they picked up Javier Dyer, the guy from Reinhardt at the beginning.
But didn't you say something about the curse?
Yeah, they cut him. But it's still like I built an infatuation with them, and then they cut him, and it's hard to tear that down immediately. I'm not that kind of guy.
I understand that.
I know people who are able to like switch sports teams really quickly. I got a friend who goes from Notre Dame to Penn State to Pittsburgh. It's a really weird pattern.
What a horrible life.
What a horrible life, right? Like, man, bad enough to be a Notre Dame fan.
Notre Shame.
Notre Shame, thank you.
Yes, yeah.
What did you think of this game, Ian?
This is honestly one of the most boring games I've seen in a while, and I don't really know why, but it was. And I believe there was an injury early on that kind of shook up, and he had to get in the ambulance. So hopefully he's going to be okay in the end. But 3-8, just a weird game, weird energy, and I don't know how to explain it. It just was.
Yeah, it was a weird energy. It was a good defensive game at the very least. Speaking of good defensive games and not getting blown out, the Legends have another not blowout loss, which is big. I mean, that's the thing. They have 6 losses now on the year, and 3 of them are the 3 biggest losses in AAF history.
Hey, we're going to be on the right side of the record books one day. No.
Atlanta lost to Birmingham 17-9. I want to say Atlanta never led in this game. I'm pretty sure Birmingham, not necessarily like full control, but they were in charge of the game for the majority of it. Matt Sims was also your starting quarterback, which was a shame to see him go back. I don't get it. I think you would at least let Aaron Murray play out the rest of the year is what the fans want.
I mean, he's the only person has ever given your franchise a win, let alone 2 wins. And yeah, they went back to their form of suckiness, but he's better than Sims. Anyone is better than Sims.
You look at it. Atlanta was 2-2 under Aaron Murray, and they're 0-4 under Matt Sims, so it shouldn't be that hard to pick. And I get it. There were 2 blowout losses under Aaron Murray. There were also 2 wins. And when you see losses like this for Sims, the defense held them to 17 points, which in the AAF, 2 touchdowns and 2 extra points is 16. That's not bad. 17 is manageable. With all these other scores, I mean, Memphis put up 31 and lost. You should be able to put up at least 17 points as an offense. That's clearly not.
Let's look at the bright side. They did go from scoring 6 points 2 weeks in a row to 9. So, improvement.
Yeah. And you can say the same thing about Aaron Murray, I was about to say, because he put up 6 points in the past 2 weeks. But he was able to put up 23 against Memphis and then 14 over Arizona when the defense held him to 11. So this is clearly a defensive team.
Because their offense doesn't work.
Because their offense doesn't work.
Their defense by default.
Yeah. Anyways, the last game of the week, the most interesting, Arizona and San Antonio both fighting for the number 1 spot in the West. Arizona comes out on top 23-6 in a more dominant game than I think a lot of people were expecting. Arizona comes now. They're leading the Western Conference. They're at 5-3. San Antonio, same record, just losing the tiebreaker. What do you think, Ian?
Wow, the Hot Shots are the best team in the West, and will have a very good shot to defeat the Apollos again if they need to.
I can definitely agree. I want to talk about something I see that's really interesting. Currently on the AAF.com, where they have the standings, they have net points, which would be point differential. So
Yes.
the more points you score minus the points that you give up. Orlando leads the league with a net points of 100, and next closest, of course, is Arizona with 42. So that's a big margin. I'm looking at the negatives right now.
Yeah, look at the Legends.
Okay. The second worst is the Memphis Express at negative 42, which is bad. The Legends is negative 125, and that's because everyone in the league has managed to put up at least 100 points this season, except for the Legends, who have 88. That's atrocious. I can't even stand it. Like, the next worst is the Salt Lake Stallions at 135. Like, everyone else has been able to put up at least 100, and we're just sitting here at 88.
Well, I mean, and 135 isn't that bad when you see the next closest team is 152 with Memphis.
Yeah.
Like, just the Legends suck.
The real question I'd like to ask, will the Legends hit 100 points? And the answer should be yes, because that's 2 games left, 12 points, so you just need 6 points a game. And they've been putting up 6 points a game.
Are you a betting man?
I would take a bet here. The next
Don't they
two
play
games,
Apollos?
their games are Salt Lake at Atlanta, and then Atlanta at Memphis.
Oh.
So
Okay.
I'll put the line at
102?
one higher than that. Well, yeah, they're at 88 right now. I'll put it at 108.
108.
So 20 points over the next 2 games against teams that are combined 3-11.
Still teams that are better than Atlanta. And if
I'm-
Matt Sims is starting, ooh.
So I'll put the official line 107.5.
Okay.
If they hit 108, they're over. If they hit 107, they're under. Are you taking the over or the under here?
I'm taking the under. I
You're
don't think
taking
they
the
have
under?
the ability.
This would be a fun segment. We should do
Yes.
this more often.
Over, under.
Over under. I'm gonna take the over here. Salt Lake's defense is a little scary, but also Memphis's defense doesn't look as great after giving up 34 to Orlando. And I get Orlando's a high-powered offense, but they also gave up 25 to Birmingham the week before.
The most
then-
inconsistent team.
And then before that, they gave up 22 to Salt Lake. I'm going to say over. They will hit at least 108 points on the season. So 10 points this week, 10 points next week.
I don't think that's very likely. They might hit 102. That's my guess.
I'm scared to see how this one goes. Looking at the standings, we already told you Orlando 7-1. Birmingham officially clinched a playoff spot. They're 5-3, so the Eastern Conference is pretty much locked up. I think Birmingham actually plays Orlando to end the season. I guess it's technically possible for Birmingham to jump over the Apollos. It would take
All
a
losses.
lot. Yeah. Birmingham would have to win out, Orlando would have to lose out, and then the tiebreaker would have to go to Birmingham based on...
And it wouldn't change anything because they'd still play them.
Actually, I don't know, because conference record, Birmingham's 3-2, Orlando's 5-0, and their next game is against someone who's not in their conference. So I think
Oh.
Orlando would win the 1 seed just based on
they're
conference.
clinched, never mind. Yeah.
I want to say they get the 1 seed either way. Looking in the West, Arizona and San Antonio are both 5-3. San Diego and Salt Lake are still 3-5. Technically, no one's eliminated. But it's really looking like it's going to be Arizona and San Antonio. Their next game, San Antonio hosts Memphis, and Arizona hosts Birmingham. Do you have any predictions or do you have any crazy predictions other than Arizona and San Antonio in the West?
I don't see your Stallions making it. That's
I
not
don't
really
think
a
so.
crazy
I don't
prediction,
think
but
so.
the Fleet might have a chance if somehow the Commanders get that last loss where they get their butts handed to them and they just can't rearrange themselves mentally to make a comeback from that. So maybe the Fleet will sneak in, but it will be very circumstantial.
See, actually, I don't believe in the Fleet at all. I think they look like one of the worst teams in the league right now. Even though their record is a little better than Memphis, I think they may be worse than Memphis. They are crashing hard. Remember, they used to be like at the top of the standings.
They've had a rough stretch, but
They've
This
had a really rough stretch.
this
yeah.
is the make or break part, and they're in a position to do it as long as the coach can convince his players that they have a chance for this, they can do it, then they have a shot.
I understand. Over their past 5 games, over their past 5 games, they're 1-4.
Yes.
They've been falling. Their only one win was in week 5 when they beat Salt Lake by 2.
Well, they're about to sandwich it.
They're about to sandwich it.
Yeah. Wins at the beginning, losses in the middle, wins at the end.
I just don't see Sandy. I can't see them doing it. I think we're obviously seeing the power in the conferences. So, let's go into week 9 game predictions, if they happen.
Oh, no.
We'll get into that a little bit more later. Memphis at San Antonio. Memphis looks a lot better. San Antonio's in a tight playoff race in the West. Who do you have?
I'm going to say that Memphis is going to help out San Diego by defeating San Antonio because they have nothing to lose now. They have Concussion Boy on the sidelines, if he's going to be able to play. And Brandon Silvers actually isn't that awful.
Understandable. I'm going with San Antonio here. I still think they're one of the best teams in the West, and they're going to show it again. Memphis isn't a winner. They look like a good team, but they're not a winner.
But they are close to winning. They just need that one lucky break.
They're not a winner, and that's what I've been saying about Salt Lake for a while now, too. They keep getting so close. Memphis isn't a winner. Going next, San Diego at Orlando. San Diego, you're talking about, needs this playoff push. Orlando could talk about resting players because they're 7-1. Who do you have?
Well, to keep my theory alive, San Diego would have to win, but being a logical person, they're not going to win, even if Apollos rest all their players. The better team, better coached. It's not likely.
Understandable. My thing is how quickly we forget. Week 6 coming in. Orlando, this unstoppable juggernaut at 5-0. Arizona, the spunky underdogs. That's right, spunky. Who could possibly take down Orlando? Whap!
That sounds like a great summer movie.
Arizona toppled Orlando. Do you know what that means for this week?
That's
it means a 30-point blowout.
Oh, okay,
for Orlando.
yeah.
Orlando's going to absolutely destroy San Diego.
Well,
I think they're one of the worst teams in the league. There's no way.
They're definitely bottom 4.
Yeah. We talked about... Wow, thanks. Thank you. We already talked about Arizona, who was kind of a bottom feeder that time, but have seriously heated up. San Diego doesn't have that in them. They're going to get walloped. Walloped?
Walloped?
Yeah.
Walloped.
Oh, boy. Salt Lake at Atlanta. Salt Lake and Atlanta are both at the bottom of their respective conferences. Who gets the win?
If the team isn't in Atlanta or called the Legends, they will win.
I'm going to say Atlanta pulls the upset here, scores 12 points to really help my theory, and beats Salt Lake, who only put up 8 in a win over San Diego.
Okay, then I'm going to say that Atlanta's only going to have Young Koo kick 6 points, and they'll call it a day. Matt Sims will probably start.
Yeah.
That's the real question. If they start Sims, it's over.
I could agree with that. But I'm going to take Atlanta because I need them to cover the points.
They're not going to.
And then Birmingham at Arizona. I think this one's really interesting. Arizona's really in a tight race. Birmingham, I think, needs to build up some momentum heading into the playoffs. Who do you have?
I'm going to go with the Arizona Hotshots. They look unstoppable these last few weeks. They've been dominating. They're not near as inconsistent as they were at the beginning of the season, and Birmingham is still inconsistent. You only scored 17 points against Atlanta, one of the worst teams, and yeah, their defense has gotten better, but Atlanta's not the best team, and you're letting them score 9 points on you with Matt Sims? Come on.
Birmingham is reminding me a lot of the Pittsburgh Steelers, in where they play up for their tough opponents, but they play down to their really bad ones.
Exactly.
And so Arizona's obviously a tough opponent, so I feel like they'll play up. But over their last 3 games, Arizona's toppled Orlando, San Diego, which isn't that impressive, and San Antonio. So you could argue the two best teams outside of Arizona.
The 2 conference leaders at the time.
Yeah. Arizona's scorching hot right now, and I don't think Birmingham can slow them down. I'm definitely taking the hot shots. But I think Birmingham can make this a really good game in the same way. So now we're going to get into the biggest news of the week for the AAF, and it's that the AAF may not exist in a week even. I know a lot of people talked about the AAF not surviving until year 2, but now it's looking like they may not even make it out of year 1. Mike Florio gave a report Quote, in the aftermath of the Alliance of American Football majority owner Tom Dundon acknowledging last week that the AAF may not make it to year 2, PFT reported that the AAF may not make it to the end of year 1, and that this past weekend of games could be the last. It's looking really bad. They're going to meet on it. Let me see. I want to say they're going to meet on it either today or tomorrow to talk about it before this weekend comes. I don't think they're able to pay players. But you had a different take on that, Ian. What's your thoughts on this?
Well, yesterday was April Fool's Day, and I know that he said it's not a joke, but I'm going to be hopeful that this was a joke and that it won't end right now, but that it might end at the end of the season. And even if they can't play the players, I believe that a majority of the players would stay for their team and finish off the season. What is it, 3 games or 4 games at most at this point?
It would be 4 weeks, 9 and 10, then the playoffs.
And I feel like all the players that are here, they're not doing it for the money. They're doing it for the opportunity. They want to show that they are good enough to be in the NFL. And even if they don't get paid these next few weeks, I feel like most of them are out there to prove themselves, and they will do whatever they can to do that.
I understand. In response to you thinking that it's a joke, there have been multiple reports. And I know it came out April 1st, which makes it suspicious. Multiple outlets have come out and reported this. Essentially, the majority owner of the AAF, Tom Dundon, is talking about just not funding the league anymore and just letting it go as an investment. So apparently it's losing a lot of money, which we all thought it would in the first couple of years. It's a startup football league. He could be signing off, and then the AAF would have to either A, find a new investor or go out of business. And I get there's another argument that's been made that players are playing for the opportunity to get into the NFL, but they're not going to risk serious injury on a field just to do that. I think there are better ways to go about it.
Then why do they play in high school and college?
Because you have to. I mean, high school and college players haven't built up a resume, but the people in the AAF have at least built up something. They've played before.
Okay.
Obviously.
Some of them haven't. Some of them look like they haven't.
So we'll let you know next week in our AAF podcast if Week 9 actually happened. If it didn't,
if not, it's going to be some fun, awkward silence.
If it didn't, I think it would be fun to play a hypotheticals game.
Yes.
Of what if, and we'll just map out the rest of the season for you.
I guess that would make me right with Atlanta not scoring more than 100 points.
It would not. Atlanta, hypothetically, point totals go into it. We'll talk about that. Anyways, you're going to have to tune in to hear what we're doing next. Our next big idea, we're going to be coming out with helmet-to-helmet debates soon. First, this week, we're going to be releasing a video talking about hypotheticals and a little bit of way too early predictions. So be on the lookout for that. In the meantime, my name is Mason.
And this is Ian.
And this is Helmet to Helmet.